Hello, everybody. Welcome to the last presentation of the day. We are now doing Choosing the Right Path and Staying on Track with Jennifer Cook from Pacific Life. I would now like to pass it over to the next slide so Jennifer can introduce herself. Hello, Jennifer. How are you?
Hello. How are you, John? Thank you for having me.
I'm doing fantastic. Take it away, Jennifer.
Oh, so a little bit about me, huh? Well, I have been at Pacific Life for 10 years this month, actually, but I've been in financial services for the last 25 plus, we won't say what plus is, years. And I'm currently heading up marketing for the retirement solutions division at Pacific Life, responsible for both online and offline marketing. I guess it's the fun facts that are next. Grew up in New York, although I've been in California now longer than I've been in New York, but you can't take New York out of me. And I talk fast because of it. So John, you stop me if I'm talking too fast, okay? And my free time, I love to ski in the winter. It was such a bummer I didn't get to do that much of it this year because of COVID. I can't wait for next season. And hiking, so do a lot of hiking.
That is awesome. Nice to meet you, Jennifer. And for all those attending today's session, remember, we're going to have a Q&A. So get your good questions ready and use the right-hand side of the screen. I'll be watching the Q&As come in. So let's talk. So again, the theme of today's discussion is choosing the right path and staying on track. Now, we heard a lot today from some of the other sessions about everyone's journeys. And I love this idea of being on a damn journey. All of us on the call today, many of us are at different points along our journey, and that's good. That's why we have these sessions, to learn and see where other people are, some of the things that they're doing. Maybe I can learn from some of those things. So one of the first things we should talk about, Jennifer, is happy Thursday to you. And where are you in your Pacific Life good damn journey? How you doing? Where is it?
Good. Yeah. You know, it's funny. When I was kind of prepping for this last night, originally, I was thinking, well, we're just at the very, very beginning of our journey. But as I went through my files on DAM, I was seeing things back to 2015 and 2016. And I thought, my Lord, we have been on this journey now for a very long time. We just finally got it approved and are ready to go this year. So we did start thinking about it, like I said, back in 2015, 2016, knowing that we wanted to put something like this in place. But as with so many things, either there were higher priorities or higher items that needed budgets. But we are finally here, and we are about 9 weeks into a 18-week implementation.
These are good times. That's a good part of the journey, is it not? Now, I love the fact that you sort of alluded to, you know, it's actually taken a little bit longer to get where you thought you were on the damn journey. And I think that's a good thing. That's good for people to identify in terms of like, what does that sort of damn journey sort of look like for them? Do you have any sort of good memories or interesting milestones in some of those beginning stages of that damn journey for you in Pacific Life?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, for us, it started with web publishing, right? And we knew we had a dam in place for the web. But then as we started to build our MarTech stack, we were adding different technologies. And today we're up to 8 different systems, if you will, that are pushing out content and marketing materials. So as that continued to grow, we just realized that, okay, we really need to put something in place, and it grew in terms of higher priority. You know, the other thing I'd say too is that I'm sure with most people on this call, we really are moving to being and doing more customer-centric marketing. So how do you personalize, right? How do you deliver the marketing when, where, and how the consumer wants it? And with that and personalization, that means more content. And we just knew that if we were going to be building more content, we really needed to get our house in order in terms of where we store, how we push out, what our processes look like when it comes to content and assets.
Yeah, and what was mentioned in one of our previous discussions or panels, they were saying, you know, content will never ever get lower. It's only going to go higher. We're going to only make more videos, more marketing materials, more images, more, right? So I think
that's true.
Yeah, your steps along the damn journey are quite good. And in fact, that's the right thing you should be doing. So I guess the next logical question in that sort of thing is, so what was your approach to this? Like, how did you and Pacific Life get DAM started?
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's interesting. Again, when I was looking back, we had jumped right in 2016. We were already doing RFPs and building business requirements. But when we really got serious about it, it really was identifying what were the challenges, what were the things that we really needed to fix and help with moving forward. So what were we trying to achieve with this? And then we really started by building a business case. We already had the bottom up support, right? The people on my team were wanting this and needing this. And now we really needed to get top down support as well. And at least in our company, if you've got a project that's going to be over a certain dollar amount or using a certain amount of IT resources, well, you need to present it. It needs to get approved and prioritized. So the business case is very, very important in making that happen. And then tying it really to overall business objectives. As a company, we knew that we were focusing on using data better, trying to go digital first as much as possible, and most importantly, creating operational efficiency. And putting a DAM in place really hits all three. So all of that was encapsulated in our business case.
I love how much you put the importance on that business case. I think a lot of people sometimes miss that step. And I think it's such a valuable step to make on the journey, because that business case gives you so many things. You learn from the users. You know what the expectations might be for senior executives. You're in that business case mode of presenting why you need it and what you want to do with it. I thank you very much for emphasizing that business case. And I think everyone on the call today, if you don't have a business case, I think you should probably invest some time and start creating that business case. So Jennifer, with that sort of now we kind of know where Pacific Life is going on that DAM journey.
Yeah.
What kind of challenges and opportunities might have you faced along the way?
Definitely. And John, before I get into that, one other part that cascades down from the business case is tying it to our goals. So it sits within my goals, right? How is this creating operational efficiency for us? And then it cascades down to my leaders and on the team as well, in terms of how are we truly saving time, saving resources, saving money, and have we hit those things? How does it align to the business case that we put together? So it all kind of ties together here. To answer your question, it kind of goes along, I'd say, challenges, opportunities with the people, process, technology as well. I will tell you challenges. It did not get approved the first two times. There were other things that were just more important that we prioritized higher. So we just kept at it. And the second time around, it got approved and here we are. So I would say don't get discouraged. If you know this is something that the marketing team needs to put in place, or any team, keep building your business case. And that's what it allowed us to do. It gave us an extra year to continue to build those numbers to show the value that this would bring for us. As far as opportunities, can I tie it together with people, process, technology?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I think you have a couple slides.
Yeah, do you want me to here's the current state.
Sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was our current state of our MarTech stack and how content and digital assets flowed. And we're not going to go through this, don't worry, but it's really just seeing how large this picture is. And then if you go to the next slide.
Yeah, the future state.
Future state, way smaller. And that's really the point of this, right? It was to, again, provide efficiencies in terms of what we were doing with our process and our people and our technology. So that was the whole point of these two slides. We don't have to stay on this if you don't want, but should I just kind of go through each one? John, talk about people a little bit,
first of all,
talk about process.
Yeah, these slides are kind of exciting because very often we don't get to see some of these future state, current state things. And I go on again to all the attendees, we'll be able to see these later on, but I think it's just great to see these two put together. Before we get to people process, I just want to say, well done you on showing that DAM journey and the honesty of it. In terms that the first time you asked, it didn't happen. And that's okay. In
happen.
fact, after doing this for 22 years, I can tell you, most people don't always get the dam that first time, and that's totally okay. There's other priorities, there's alignment issues to happen, but what I love what you said, Jennifer, is that you took that time to even better improve upon that and even learn more. And I think a takeaway for anyone who's watching this presentation, remember that, that's okay. There's still good more work that you can do. So well done, Jennifer. That was excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so people, and I'll pull in some challenges, opportunities as I go through this. But I'd say the first thing with people is we were smart enough to know what we didn't know. And we didn't know all that much about DAM and digital asset management. We had attended some conferences like this, but we knew we needed help in terms of implementation. And we also just didn't really have the time and resources to do it all ourselves. And I will tell you that's very, very different for us. We are mainly in-house. We tend to drive and do things ourselves in-house. But for this, we really did go out and we were working with a consultant who is helping us to implement. And I will say it has been invaluable. The other thing with people, we realized we don't have a DAM librarian and we are going to need one when this gets off the ground and launch it. So that was it was a realization that we figured out really quickly in working through the discovery. And then we do have people from our technology department working with various people on my team. So graphic designers, video production, and digital and web publishing. And I say it's really important to have all of them together in the discovery process when you're starting out, and especially talking through things like file structure.
So people. Yeah, people is important to the DAM, right? Having the DAM is amazing. We all want that great piece of technology, but the people part is a real part of making that DAM function and work and be successful. So again, everyone on the call today, start, as Jennifer's just alluded to, start thinking of the people part, because that's going to help. It really will.
It is, yeah. So as far as process, right? So this is really where we see a lot of those operational efficiencies come to play. It's what the two pictures that we just showed is really helping to bring that big, massive amount into something much smaller and manageable. But for us, it was truly about turning manual processes into automated ones. So you saw on that picture, we have about 8 different platforms that we distribute content through and marketing through. So things like, I'll just name a few, it should probably sound familiar, I'm sure you all have them, but obviously websites, fulfillment, warehouses, Hearsay that we use for our social media platforms, Marketing Cloud that we do email through, right? So all of those sort of things. And we have people who manage each of those, and part of each of their jobs, so 7, 8 different people, was loading and pushing assets to each of those platforms. Not the most efficient use of their time. So what makes it go from the big to the small is the fact that we have automated almost all of those pushes. I think we're up to 6 out of the 8 workflows that have been able to be automated. And when we were building our business case, what we found was that if you add up all the time that those 7 people spend doing the pushes, as well as entering in the metadata, doing the tagging, putting all the information in there that goes along with the asset, it comes out to about 4,000 to 5,000 hours a year, which is about 2 to 2.5 full-time employees. So by automating this, we're really able to now redirect their time to be able to do the things they should be doing and not necessarily just pushing assets out to a platform. So that has just been huge for us in terms of process and creating efficiencies with the process.
Thank you for sharing those numbers too, because that's a real reality that I think people need to sort of understand as they're getting ready. And again, to that people part as well, it's really, it's essential to get that down going. And thank goodness for automation. Automation can be our friend. And as you're proving here in your current to the future state, that automation part is really integral. So I've stopped sharing the slides because we're now going to move into like the last two sections. So, and some questions are already coming in, which is awesome, which is great. So everyone get your questions going in now. I want to close on two sort of themes here with you, Jennifer, as more and more questions are coming through. So what is your advice? So a lot of people on the call today, everyone's on different DAM journeys. What is your advice that you would like to share with some of the people today?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I mean, you got to start, right? So start somewhere, start really looking at the efficiencies that you might gain and how much time your people are spending on certain things. But I'll share with you a few of maybe the gotchas or things that we should have or wished we had realized from the beginning.
I love gotchas. Damn gotchas are amazing. More damn gotchas. I love it.
Yeah, so it really is as you're looking at the vendors that your DAM has to integrate with, really try to understand the APIs that they have that integrate. Because when we did the original estimates for our business case and spoke to our vendors, they were like, yes, we have APIs, we can connect, no problem. But then what we found out was that we had just upgraded. We are using the most recent version of the DAM, and those APIs were built for the older version. So now it's kind of, it has to be rebuilt, the APIs. We're looking at potential costs associated with it, as well as just the time that we didn't necessarily expect. So definitely dig into that with your vendors. Let's see, like I said, for us, hiring a consultant was truly the way to go. What I had wished was that we had kind of done things opposite. We chose our vendor before our consultant. And I think our consultant probably could have given us some really great information as we were going through the RFP process with our DAM vendors. And then, like I think I mentioned this already, but just, we use a phrase, start together, stay together, and I will credit my team for coming up with that. I love that phrase. So it's really important, just as I mentioned before, to make sure you have your technology resources along for the ride with you from the very beginning. I will tell you, DAM sits within marketing. It is not what we consider technology. Well, it's technology, but they're not the ones responsible for it. Marketing is responsible for it. However, for things like single sign-on and integrations, it's really important they're there from the beginning. And then anyone that touches your assets, again, make sure they're all part of this from the beginning.
And then, so I love the fact you're staying together will help you stay on track too. So that's totally perfect. It all ties in very well. Last question before we go to the questions that are coming through here. So what's next for you? I mean, here we are. It's almost May. I can't believe that. But it's almost May. We saw your current, we saw your future. What's next for Pacific Life?
Well, as far as the DAM journey with Pacific Life, we have a date to implement come July, and happy to say we are on track right now for that. So the goal is to stay on track, and then truly, it's really to start looking at the analytics that we can gain from the DAM. Again, I'll just share one of the things that we have great information and data on the projects that we do. That's part of our workflow system. But we also do a lot outside of our workflow system, especially when we're supporting other parts of the company and the division. So it's going to be really fantastic to tie the data together because all the assets will sit in the DAM. So we'll really get a good view in terms of how much work the marketing department's actually doing, and then be able to just tie it all together with our overall marketing analytics.
Yeah, I'm a big believer. Yeah, go ahead, please.
I was going to say, can I just mention one other thing that I think would be important to this audience, being financial services? One of the other benefits that we didn't realize, going back to that, like, what's your advice, was just the compliance benefits we were going to gain. When you have people that are entering into 7 different systems, state variations, firm variations, right? All the regulatory stuff we put in, who's allowed to use your marketing, there's human error there. So being able to put it in once and then it automatically pushes really helps with compliance as well.
That's an excellent point. And we've heard that in a few of the sessions today, is people talking about compliance and security. And I think you really summarized that quite well. And I'm glad you said that, because a lot of the attendees today are going to be like, oh, that's a good thing to consider as I begin or middle journey where everyone is on their journeys. So we've got about 9-10 minutes left-ish. The questions are coming in, so please, if you're, I see some people putting questions in the chat, put the questions in the questions, and we'll answer them there. So Jennifer, this is an interesting one. It goes back to something you said. It says, can Jennifer tell us again with the integrations, how many minutes projects did you say? I think you did have a,
yeah.
I think you did give a number out. I think someone's asking.
I did.
Like, I want to know more what that means.
You want to hear more about it? Sure. Yeah. So we started, knowing this was coming, we started to track our time as to how much time were the people managing the different platforms spending just uploading the PDFs or whatever those documents were to those particular platforms. And what we found was that we spend about 4,000 to 5,000 hours a year just on those tasks of putting it in and then putting in all the metadata and tagging that goes along with it. So again, if we assume like 2,000 hours equals one full-time employee, we're looking at about 2 full-time employees. And in our instance, we want to repurpose, right? We want them to spend their time doing other things besides just loading PDFs or documents or whatever that is. So it's really great. For us, it's going to free up time to have them doing the things that we really want them to be working on.
Awesome. Good question. I know everyone wanted, you mentioned earlier as well about like the idea of analytics and reporting. So those numbers are valuable. And of course, you provided yours, and that's awesome. Everyone who's attending this call, you're all going to have your unique numbers to share.
Absolutely.
Just make sure you're getting the numbers, and that's going to help build your business case. It makes it tangible for some people who may not understand it. So yeah, reporting and analytics, make sure you get those ready for yourselves. Great question. That was from Jeffrey, by the way. You have a question here from Peter. Peter says, most obvious question, when top, so top being executive, so when the top decides for a dam, how do you cultivate their decision at lower levels to make the implementation and management work? Using the big stick to speak, as Peter says.
Yeah, so let me start by saying it didn't come from the top down, right? It came from my team recognizing that we really would benefit from having a dam. So I really would say it was a true bottom up approach. The only reason why we go and we get top down, well, one, I think you should always have top down support for major initiatives. It also shows how your initiative is going to tie to the business drivers that we're working on for the overall company and for the division. So it wasn't like we needed the big stick to drive it down. The team actually wanted it. The team helped build the business case for it, and we saw the value in it. So again, we have to get the approval because large projects over a certain dollar amount, or if was needed, IT resources, needs approval, just so you can prioritize it with all the other top initiatives going on at the same time.
As a follow-up to this, the question is governance or communications. How is that working in terms of, again, with decision-making? And as we all know, with decision-making, there are various levels within the organization of how that happens. How is that being, how do you currently have that, the user feedback? How is that helping you, Jennifer, in your decision-making? How is that working? Yeah,
so if we're talking about governance over the dam, what we did is we assigned, well, we have one person from my team who's actually leading it, and there's also a lead from the IT side as well. We have a very small working group, right? We believe in the pizza size working groups, right? 6 to 8 people, so that you can be fast and agile and move on things. So we have somebody from each of my teams that will be working on the dam. And then really the person that's leading it is the decision maker. We do have stakeholder reviews, and if there's a decision or something that they want my input on or need my input, that's when I'll hear about it or see about it. But besides that, they they'll make the decisions. The way I view it is my team are the ones that are going to be using this on a day in and day out basis. They truly understand the usage and what they need out of it, probably even more than I do. So they're empowered. They are definitely empowered.
And then, to reinforce that, to get the communications happening. If you don't know, how can you make those good decisions, right? So
absolutely,
get it all that you can. Great question here from Anonymous. Well done, Anonymous. Jennifer, how did you get the buy-in for your dam?
Yeah, so it's really, well, buy-in from below or buy-in from top? Buy-in below, like I said, a few people on my digital marketing team attended a conference just like this because they had been reading and hearing about the values of a dam. And after coming to a conference like this, they're like, yep, we need it. And they really started building the case as to why we needed this. And again, it truly was the business case. And maybe the question is asking like, well, what goes into your business case to get the buy-in? So we laid out what our MarTech stack looked like, and then what the process looked like, and the number of people involved in a visual. And we then put what the benefits would be, right? Like, what are the challenges in the current state? And then what would the benefits be in the future state? And then from there, we talk a little bit about the vendors that we evaluated and why we landed on the ones that we did, and then cost analysis and timeline.
Awesome. That's a great trajectory for everyone to follow. Take those notes now. Peter followed up with his earlier question. So how are you enforcing policies to your teams? How is that happening, the enforcement of it? Can you tell a little bit?
Yeah, so like I said, we're only 9 weeks into the 18-week implementation. So we're not yet enforcing anything on it, but governance will be huge with it. And we realize that. I mean, even if what's interesting is as we've been now migrating assets over into the dam from our current systems and our current file structure, it really does reveal and open your eyes to the importance of governance. Because we have naming conventions that we thought we were being consistent on that, no, we're not being consistent on. So in a way, it's really an opportunity to hit the refresh button. And what's great is because we have this working group with representatives from each of the team, they will build what the rules and the governance looks like. And then we will build a communication and a training strategy for the rest of the department, or those at least that will be in the dam and using it. And we'll communicate out what the process and the governance should be. So I think that's part, like towards the end of the implementation, they start to work on that.
Great question. That was good. Another question here from Anonymous. Again, well done, Anonymous. Jennifer, are you currently using metrics to measure adoption of your dam? So again, I think it's not there yet, but are you thinking of using metrics for adoption in current state? Are you using metrics for adoption, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, that's a great question. You're right. We're not there yet. I will tell you that the team will be using it. My team will be using it, especially because it will be automated, and that's how the assets will get to those platforms where users will be able to access it. Now, that does bring up an interesting question of how will we monitor if users are actually like going out to a portal to do it? We haven't gotten there yet, but when we will, in fact, I think I'm going to write down your question because we need to make sure we do that.
See, this is all good.
So thank you, Anonymous. Yeah.
Thank you, Anonymous. Whoever you are, you're doing very well with these questions. The last one is not necessarily a question. It's actually a statement, and it's gotten 5 hearts, loves, likes from Amy, and that is dedicated digital asset managers are essential, speaking from experience. So I think you've got that validation there, Jennifer. Yeah. Dedicated digital asset managers. Pretty good things to have, I think, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
We are out of time. I want everyone here to join me in thanking you, Jennifer, for this excellent presentation. Learned a lot. I think everyone has great notes to take now. User adoption, governance, all those good things. Your journey was great. Thank you so much for sharing that. And so this is kind of closing out the day. So I want to, on behalf of Henry Stewart, say thank you for attending DAM for Financial Services and Insurance. Just a reminder that the session recordings from the full week are going to be accessible on the agenda tab. And then tomorrow, we're looking forward to welcoming expert speakers from the Mayo Clinic, Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, Johnson & Johnson, and others at DAM for healthcare. So for now, join us over in the Networking Lounge tab to continue the conversation at informal roundtables with fellow attendees and raise a glass to a great event at our virtual after party. Thank you, Jennifer, and thank you everyone for being here today.